The Boston Massacre and the Boston Tea Party by Stephanie Bordenabe, Kelly Huff, Jenna Basto, and Jared Bloodworth. Long ago, there was events in history named the Boston Tea Party and Boston Massacre. Each of these events have affected the United States of America in many different ways. In this video, we will explain these series of events by pictures and facts. The Boston Massacre. It all started when two groups of people, the Redcoats and the Boston colonists, started a snowball fight when each side got bored of insulting each other and actually fought. But let's go way back to where it all began. The term Boston Massacre was coined by Samuel Smith. British Parliament passed the Townshend Acts. This allowed taxes on imported goods into the colonies. This included glass and tea. So the Boston colonists thought the taxes weren't fair and thought the tax shouldn't be that high for tea.
There was constant harassment and fighting between the two sides, and one day the Boston colonists started to attack and scream at the British forces in front of the British Customs House. This attracted attention from people on the streets. Over 300, as the fight started to get more and more tense, 8 British soldiers showed up to help out.
A redcoat, Private Montgomery, was hit in the face by a stick and fired into the crowd, killing a black man named Caprice Attackus.
An unknown person yelled fire, and the British soldiers started shooting. As a result of this, 5 colonists died immediately.
The officer in charge was British officer Captain Thomas Preston. He was arrested for manslaughter. 8 of his men were all acquitted because of the circumstances they faced. His men included Corporal Williams, Private Montgomery, Private Harrington, Private McCulley, Private White, Private Kilroy, Private Warren.
The British was put on trial and then defended by John Adams.
Only 2 of his men, Kilroy and Montgomery, were found guilty of manslaughter.
The night March 5th, 1770, changed a lot of things for the United States of America. The tension between Redcoats and Boston colonists greatly increased. This event led to many other events such as the Tea Act and Boston Tea Party. The Boston Tea Party. The Tea Act was passed on May 10, 1773 by Parliament.
This act of American colony defiance served as a protest against taxation.
The Tea Act granted British East India Company tea a monopoly on tea sales in colonies.
The co-signees in Philadelphia, Charleston, and New York rejected tea shipments. Boston refused to accept Patriot pressure. Tea was very popular in America. On average, an American colonist drank about 2 or 3 cups of tea each day. About 90% of the tea was smuggled in. The group Sons of Liberty did not agree with this act. They did not impose the tax itself, but they did not agree on the fact that British Parliament made the decision without any input from the American colonists. The colonists protested with the saying, "No taxation without representation."
On December 16, 1773, there was a riot, and Sam Adams said, quote, "This meeting can do no more to save the country," unquote. "Boston Harbor, a teapot tonight," said the crowd. About 50 men disguised themselves as Mohawk Indians and raised 3 ships in the Boston Harbor.
They threw crates of tea into the harbor and destroyed 92,000 pounds, which could have made approximately 19 million cups of tea. In result, the Tea Act imposed no new taxes on imported goods, including tea, glass, lead, paper, and oil. The Tea Act was meant for a policy to get the British East India Company out of debt, but it made many American colonists. After this event, representatives of colonies went to Philadelphia to respond to British oppression. The First Continental Congress supported the destruction of tea and pledged to support the boycott. After the Boston Tea Party, there was a second Boston Tea Party. 3 months later, 60 men boarded the Fortune in March 1774. They threw about 30 chests of tea into the harbor. These events in history changed current-day America. They led to many things, such as the Declaration of Independence. Thank you for watching our video on the Boston Massacre and the Boston Tea Party.
Created using Powtoon.